Have you ever seen somebody that had an extreme transformation? You ever see a friend of yours that like lost a ton of weight and you look at them and go, how? Or changed their lives, or once addicted and then they overcame an addiction? You ever have that feeling where you see somebody that made an incredible transformation? And the first question you ask yourself is how? We are right now in a period of time of one of the greatest transformations in history. The Jewish people leave Egypt. And when they left, the rabbis tell us they were on almost the lowest level of impurity. They were almost gone. They come out and they leave the sea, basically. The merged sea. And from that moment till Mount Sinai, they sat in a desert. And when they left, they were almost at the lowest level. And in just 50 days, they reached a level of divine inspiration. They literally had the revelation of God. They transformed from being on almost the lowest level to being at the highest level in 40 plus days. How? So the Torah tells us that the Torah was given to what's called eaters of Manna. Every day afterwards that they left the sea, that their food ran out. How much could you carry? And God gave each family manna. And it was that manna that Torah sort of hints that transformed them to becoming worthy, if you will, of divine revelation. And the question is, how did it do it? How did manna do that? So come back with me for a second to the desert. Imagine you're sitting in your house. And if you can picture sort of a traditional family, husband, wife, 3 kids. They're sitting around and there's no food. And the wife turns to her husband and goes, "We have no food." He looks around and goes, "Anything left?" He goes, "No. Kids are starving. No grocery stores. No one's delivering. No Amazon.com back then. What do we do?" So the man says, "Don't worry, honey. The guys were talking about it. Moses said that starting tomorrow, God's going to deliver manna. 1 portion for each family will have enough food." And the wife goes, "Really? I mean, God's going to just like deliver manna to us every morning? Does God know how many kids I have? Does God know our names? God's not too busy. He's got baby registry up there? Like, all due respect, I love you, honey, but like, you're not Moses. You're not Aaron. I'm not Miriam. Like, really?" And the guy probably looked at his wife and went, "I don't know. I guess so." The next morning, I'm sure the guy walked out of his house with trembling hands. My grandfather told me stories of what it was like to be starving. Comes back and he puts on the table 5 pieces. And the wife goes, "God knows our names." And the next day, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then she turns to her husband and goes, "You know, your mother's coming for Shabbos. You think God knows about the fact that I invited your mother for Shabbos?" And the guy goes, "I don't know." He goes outside to his space, comes back, and there's 6 pieces. Every day they went to bed at night with no food in the cupboards. And every morning they woke up to a spot, and God gave each person exactly what they needed. Because what the manna did was remind us. What the manna did was it took the people from, "God doesn't know my name. You think God knows my name?" to, "Oh my gosh, God knows my name." The experience of the desert during this period of time now is the transformation of, I'm not relevant to God, to God knows me. God loves me. He's taking care of me. The core of spirituality is the recognition that we are built with a piece of God, that God is designing the world specifically for me and for you. The ups and the downs, the sweet and the sour. Every day during this period of time, the Jews got the lesson. God knows my name. And when me and you wake up every morning, no matter what goes on in our lives, and know in our core that the creator of humanity knows me, taking care of me, whether I realize it or not, and will be there for me, that's the core of spiritual transformation. That's how one develops a real relationship with God. That's how one can go from being lost to standing and feeling a divine revelation. When we realize that that King who created the world is also my dad, who loves me, takes care of me, and provides for me every single day of my life.